Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're basically performing an autopsy on an entire world. A world that didn't just fade away, it was meticulously, deliberately erased. We are diving deep into Margaret Atwood's absolutely chilling masterpiece, Oryx and Crake. So let's start here, with a world that has literally run out of time. Just think about that for a second. Your watch is blank. It's 0 hour. That one little detail tells you everything. Official time is gone, and with it, every single system we rely on has just collapsed. This is the new reality in Oryx and Crake. And who is our guide through this mess? A guy who calls himself Snowman. He's a walking relic, maybe the very last of our kind. He wanders this world that's both completely empty and, at the same time, terrifyingly full, haunted by the ghosts of not just what he's lost, but who he's lost. So that's the big question, right? How in the world did this happen? Well, it wasn't a meteor or a single big explosion. It was more like a slow-motion catastrophe, fueled by incredible science, corporate greed, and just plain old human desire. To really get how it all fell apart, we've got to go back. We have to look at the world that literally built its own coffin. All right, so in Snowman's world, the now, the Earth doesn't really belong to us anymore. It's been taken over by this whole menagerie of bizarre, genetically engineered creatures. Every single one is like a living, breathing monument to a society that decided to play God. And yeah, lost. Big time. Okay, first up, meet the Pagoons. And no, these are not just big pigs. They're scarily intelligent, super dangerous creatures that were first designed to be walking, snorting organ factories for humans. They were supposed to be a solution to death itself. Now they just roam the ruins. A perfect, terrifying symbol of scientific ambition gone completely off the rails. And if that's not wild enough for you, how about the Wolvogs? They look like your friendly neighborhood dog, right? Wrong. These things are genetically coded to be ruthless killing machines. They were the ultimate security system. So ultimate, in fact, that they represent the central problem of their world, creating something for protection that you can't ever really control. And then there are the Crankers, and they are something else entirely. They're the inheritors of this strange new world. Genetically, they're perfect. They're beautiful, peaceful, totally in harmony with nature. To them, Snowman is some kind of prophet, and he's their very reluctant, very broken shepherd. So Pagoons, Wolvogs, Crackers, where on earth did this stuff come from? Well, to get that, we need to look at the world before the fall. And let me tell you, it was a world of extremes, split right down the middle. Before the end, society was pretty much a binary choice. Either you were one of the elites living inside these super secure, pristine corporate bubbles they called the compounds, where the future was literally being invented, or you were out in the pleblands. And the pleblands were chaotic, dangerous, and where pretty much everyone else was just trying to survive. And you can really see how messed up things were by just looking at what they watched for fun. Forget Netflix. They had trivia games about extinct species. They live-streamed executions for entertainment, and they even had a hit reality show about assisted suicide. It tells you just how numb people had become to death and decay. They were literally consuming. And this is the world our protagonist, a boy named Jimmy, grows up in. In a society obsessed with science and data, Jimmy, he's a words guy. He's all about feelings and looking for connection in a sterile world that has zero time for that stuff. And that longing, that vulnerability, is exactly what puts him at the dead center of the coming storm. So you've got Jimmy and his best friend Crake. And then a third person enters the picture, a girl named Oryx. She is this ghost from the pleblands, and her whole life story is just a testament to the world's casual, everyday cruelty. Her life was just one tragedy after another. She was sold by her own family as a child and forced into all sorts of horrific situations. But the craziest part? She talks about it all so calmly, with this bizarre detachment. And for Jimmy, that's what's so horrifying. Not just what happened to her, but the fact that she sees it as, normal. When she says that, "So I learned about life," to sum up all that trauma, wow, it just hits you. She becomes the absolute center of this emotional triangle. Jimmy falls in love with her spirit, her survival. But Crake, the guy who rescued her, sees her more like a case study, a perfect example of human suffering. She is the human element in Crake's terrifyingly inhuman plan. Okay, so this is where everything starts to come together. This is Crake's grand plan.
Remember Jimmy's brilliant best friend? He grows up to be the top mind in genetic engineering, and his diagnosis of humanity is, bleak. He doesn't think we need to be fixed. He thinks our whole species needs a product recall.
To Crake, humanity is just a failed experiment. All the things we think make us special, our art, our love, our religions, he sees them as bugs in our source code. They're just byproducts of a flawed monkey brain that leads to war and destruction. His solution? The Crakers. Humanity 2.0, with all the bugs engineered out.
In this quote about art, man, it just says everything about his logic. To him, the Mona Lisa is basically just a fancy, dressed-up mating call. He's looking at our fundamental programming, our DNA, and he's decided it's corrupted beyond repair. The only real fix is to delete it all and start fresh.
So how does he do it? It's horrifyingly brilliant, really. He creates the perfect product for a flawed species, the Bliss Plus pill. It promises everything we want: eternal youth, immunity to STDs, and an amazing sex life. It was completely irresistible. And it was also a Trojan horse, carrying a perfectly engineered plague that would spread to every corner of the globe. And of course, the pill is a runaway success. People are lining up for it. And in their desire for a better life, humanity literally bought and consumed its own extinction. It was the trigger for the global apocalypse Crake had planned all along. The end came so fast. We're talking weeks. One week, it's a new virus. The next, cities are being sealed off. Then, just silence. The whole world just stops. And Jimmy? He was protected inside a biodome with Crake, watching the end of the world on TV before having to walk out into the quiet aftermath. And this really gets to the heart of Crake's logic. You don't need to destroy the planet. The planet's fine. It's the people who are the problem. All you have to do is break that chain of knowledge, of memory, passed from one generation to the next, and human culture just evaporates. For him, it was like winning a video game. Game over. And that brings us right back to where we started, back to Snowman, alone in the ruins. He is the last link in that broken chain. He's the sole guardian of Crake's weird new world, and he's basically a walking, talking museum of the old one. For years, he truly believes he's the last human on Earth. Then, one day, he sees a campfire. He's not alone. But who are these other survivors? Are they a sign of hope? Or are they just a leftover symptom of the very disease, humanity, that destroyed everything? He has to make an impossible choice. And this is right where the novel leaves us hanging. Snowman, weapon raised, standing at the ultimate crossroads between humanity's ugly past and its strange engineered future. The final question isn't just about what he's going to do. It's about what it even means to be human. And after all this, do we even deserve a second chance?